Good afternoon, and I'm your talk show host, Terrence Perry, and this is Lifelong Learners. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and as always, we have a great show for you. I have a young man here this afternoon that's going to talk to you about the millenniums and also about the college campus life. None other than Latif Phoenix. Latif, how you doing?
Good, good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Terrence.
Man, I was looking forward to this conversation that I
Hmm.
wanted to have with you today, and just wanted to kind of get an understanding of a little bit about your background, a little bit about. I know you are a graduate of Shaw University,
Indeed, correct.
and are you from Newark, New
Newark, New
Jersey?
Jersey, born and raised.
All right,
Yep.
so
Hmm.
and I know you got a birthday coming up in April, so yeah,
Yeah, yeah. April
uh,
6th.
so we looking for a birthday party. But let me just give a
Hmm.
shout out to my producer Amnon. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good,
Yes.
Amnon. I told you just before I got here that was a big car accident that I guess it held up the traffic for about 5 miles on both sides, and I had to run
So
around
people
to
should stay away from where? Tell them.
uh,
Here's the report.
Highway 70 in Garner,
Okay.
between
There.
Garner and Raleigh. It's a 5 mile backup. So yeah, it kind of had me going in circles. But Latifah, can you just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the type of work that you're involved in now? You're working with youth and young adults,
Hmm.
men and women in
Hmm.
recovery.
Hmm.
So can you give us a little background?
Right now, I'm currently working with men and women in recovery, as you stated. I've been in the field for about 10, 15 years. When I initially graduated Shaw University in '03, I went back home to Newark, New Jersey, actually, and I worked in a treatment facility that introduced me to mental health as well as substance abuse. So I've been focusing on that demographic for a long time. Um, a couple of years ago, they switched substance abuse to a mental health diagnosis, which I thought was awesome. I've always thought it's a disease. It's always should have been dealt with as a disease, and now they're doing that. So I felt like it was a nice niche for me, and I've been in it. I've just been trying to save us one day at a time. Focus on recovery. My demographic is 18 to 28 year olds. Focus primarily on 16 to 24 though, because I think you got to get them a little earlier. I think they're using drugs a lot sooner. Using alcohol a lot sooner. So I'm introducing it to campuses now, and that's my primary focus. Recovery and growth on college campuses across the globe.
Okay. So, and I know one of the things that again that you all focus on, and that's actually how we met in
Hmm.
when we're talking about men and women in recovery,
Hmm.
and now we're kind of shifting the focus to the college campus population because we understand that population that's a good time to catch that
Hmm.
population while they're in college
Hmm.
because we know that's a time where even though there's a school of higher education, there's a lot of partying,
Hmm.
uh, alcohol and introduction to different type of drugs. Right now, I know there's a big opioid use that's going on the college campuses. So we're focusing on that
Hmm.
going forward. But in saying that, I know we are in the process of talking and meeting with a lot of the collegiate, I guess, leaders
Hmm.
and talking with them about the, the issue of alcohol and substance abuse.
Hmm.
So one of the conversations that we're beginning to have is to just ask them what can we do collectively to support the students on the college campus and in just in campus life in general. So going forward, some of the things that we will be addressing is how to work with the community, how to work with the leaders, how to work with the students, and to get ahead of the substance abuse and alcohol issue. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But
Hmm.
right now, I do want to ask you again. I know you also work with what we call you had a program called Generation X, or
Next.
you Next
Hmm.
Generation Next,
Yes, Generation Next.
and that that was with what's that young adults
Yeah.
as well.
With Generation Next, that's a nonprofit organization that me and a couple of my friends from undergrad started together. It focuses on leadership development in urban communities. Um, a lot of people underestimate the talent that's in the urban community. It's a lot of untapped potential in the urban community. Companies spend millions and millions of dollars on minorities that are being employed and reemployed, but a lot of those funds are being misappropriated. You know, they're spending it in frivolous ways. So what me and my company and my organization tried to do was to focus on the millennials, the young people. 25 to 30, post college, as soon as you
Right.
get out. And we want them to invest in them early through internships and programs such as that, where they take them on for 2 years while they're in undergrad, train them in hopes and efforts to get them employed in their company, entry level, and they grow, and bring the next person over. So we just wanted to create a program that was gonna address that issue. Everyone isn't going to the NBA, everyone isn't going to the NFL, but that doesn't mean that you don't have talent. We wanted to focus on the STEM field: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We need a lot more people to focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We have to grow as a people, we have to grow as a nation. And I believe that education is an important part of that. And I believe that these companies have to invest in that education, invest in this talent long term to create a viable solution.
Let me ask you this along those lines. When you, what you all said that you do is help these millenniums to start their own businesses and start
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
start their entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So, what steps do you all take to help them to become entrepreneurs and to start their own businesses? I know y'all say it's a step by step process that you
Mm-hmm.
involve them in.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a little bit about that?
What we do is we focus on entrepreneurship. We get a lot of these companies, they give seminars, and we get access to these seminars, and they show you step by step how to start your business, some of the resources available to start your business. It all starts with financial freedom. You know, if you don't have the funds to be successful, it's hard to make change. You struggle so much day to day
Right.
that you have to be financially independent to just think straight. We've been at the low end of the spectrum for so long. It's just time to try something different. Our parents taught us, you go to college, you work for somebody for 30, 40 years, you retire, you get a pension. We see that that's not necessarily the case. So now you have to think for yourself. You have to do things for yourself. You have to be independent and free. And that's a way to do it, just by focusing on entrepreneurship. Start a company, recycle that money in your own community. I think it's ridiculous that so much money go out of our community and the other communities, and we're the ones suffering. So that's just what we did. Right now I'm focusing on this right now, recovery. I'm with Gen X. I'm a big part of Gen X. Shout out to my brother, Brandon McCullough. It was his vision, and we've come a long way. But now it's time to diversify. We started Phoenix Consulting Services Group, LLC. Um, that's the company that I have the contract with when I met you. And that's Phoenix for Communities. And we're focusing on, like you said, recovery and healthy living. No one wants to talk about that issue until it's a tragedy, until it's something that make national news. And it's something that's been serious for a long time. And now we're in a position to address it. And now the resources are available to address it. And that's what I want everyone to know, especially on these college campuses. There are resources for you. If you go to a St. Augustine University or a Shaw University, these are dry campuses. These are Baptist institutions. And there are alternative things to do besides, using drugs and drinking.
Okay, and that is that is true. I was on the campus of St. Augustine University this past week, and also over at Shaw. I know the students were on spring break, but I actually was meeting with some of the substance abuse counselors and psychologists and so forth that's on the campus, and
Mm-hmm.
and also with Wake Tech and NC State. in this area. So um, they are, and we are looking forward to that relationship going forward. Like I said, again, we're working with the population on the college campuses because we understand that if we catch them at that age and stage, then we can put some prevention strategies in place. So going forward, I know that's some of the things that we're looking at. Um, there's also there's a listing that's out of the 50 top universities in the United States and what prevention strategies they're using in the collegiate communities. Um, so some of those strategies I know they focus on taking the media out of the campus in terms of alcohol sales. You know, they are asking the universities not to have those organizations that sell, beer and alcohol and so forth as part of their sponsorship.
That's correct.
So in doing that takes that off, particularly when you talk about the Baptist and Presbyterian college campuses, the religious campuses, to not take that, I guess, not take that funding to, a lot of times with the athletic programs, they were using, not locally, but abroad, like Budweiser and different beer and liquor sponsorship, but they asking, hey, let's not use that sponsorship because that's sending a double. I mean, that's a double-edged message that's being sent.
That's
but
correct.
Just in yourself, what things are you doing and looking at doing now to help with the college campuses to get ahead of that, of that game in terms of helping the students?
We're basically focusing on the student, making it about the student. It's tough for me to say what they should be doing or what they think is a fun alternative. I'm a millennial, but I'm far removed from the people on campus now. Believe it or not, they look at me like I'm old. So I took a different approach. I took the peer approach. We started with focus groups and asking these guys. What we did was we got a couple of representatives from each university and asked them, what would you like to do? What interests you? What's a viable solution? What's a interesting alternative to binge drinking, to, using the drugs? And we listened. It was a lot of other things that came up, everything from tailgating to dry parties to skate parties. There's an array of services that could be provided if there's the resources available. You made an interesting point. Most schools, and me, I'm a bear through and through Shaw University. I am a bear. And Shaw was in that position where Budweiser was willing to build a football stadium, but that just wasn't a good look for the university, being that it's a Baptist institution. And I completely understand that. But that was a resource available, a resource that wasn't replaced. So I understand the situation that it puts the university in. It costs to maintain a football program, and you need all the assistance you can get. And to send the wrong message is not an option. So I commend Shaw University, first and foremost, for taking that stand, for taking that position. It's no secret that 80% of students say that they drink regularly. Most of them, 51%, admit to binge drinking within the last 2 weeks. It's a matter of time before there's an incident with statistics like that.
Yeah.
I believe that those statistics aren't being addressed. A lot of times, universities are concerned, but they don't want to take the position as if we have a alcohol problem here, even if some of the universities do. I think it was interesting, the situation with the Oklahoma running back, Joe Mixon, who was placed in a domestic incident for hitting the girl when the girl was drunk and enraged and hitting him. It cost him his first round status in the draft. Clearly, he's one of the best running backs in the country, but he has a stigma now, a stigma that's directly related to alcoholism on a college university. and it's an ugly situation that happens way too much. Another instance is the student at Stanford, Brock Turner. Everyone's familiar with that rape case. He's seen a drunk girl coming from a party. He was drunk coming from a party, and he lost his inhibition. He decided to take the girl behind a dumpster and rape her, because he was drunk, because she was drunk. And we've seen the results of those actions. It's hideous and it's uncalled for. And it's something that can be prevented if we take an active stand on the front end, not the back end. So that's our focus.
And those points that you made they are valid and they are true. So and those are some of the reasons that we are looking at getting on the college campuses and trying to build that community of not just the campus leaders, but also the community leaders, students, teachers, and so forth. Everybody coming together to address the issues. And it's not just it starts with alcohol, but it gets into other drugs, and it gets into on down the road. It could be addiction, but these are the early stages. So we're trying to catch it there. And some of the things that we're trying to look at doing is to decrease alcohol availability on college campuses, university campuses, and in their off-campus partying. But also, and then there's we know that there's a lot of underage drinking that's going on.
Huge problem in the community.
And it leads to high risk factors. On not just on the campus, but
in the community as a whole.
In the community as a whole, it becomes a major issue. So we want to address those. Also, so some of the focus is on the fraternities, sororities, and some of the athletic programs, because we know a lot of times they get involved in some of the parties, and then the parties lead to someone having alcohol and being exposed, and other drugs being exposed also. So
I'm not gonna blame it on them. Everyone makes their own decisions. Right. I'm partial to the fraternities and sororities. I am in the fraternity, Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and I believe that demographic, the Greek organizations, the athletes, I believe that they're the leaders on campus usually. Yeah. So they generally set the tone for the entire campus. So I believe it's important to empower them, as well as not focus on them, because we want to focus on everyone. Right. But we have to let them know that they have a responsibility, to set the tone. They're collegiate athletes, they're Greek organizations, but they're students first. Right. First and foremost, they're students. So they have a responsibility to their student body. You can't promote this stuff that we know is nonsense. You have to do better, and if you know better, you do better. That's why we're trying to get them to take a seat at this table. First provide a seat at that table for them, and allow them to sit at that table and have their voice heard, and I want to know sincerely, unsanctioned, uninhibited, how they feel. That's why I haven't gone to a lot of the universities directly, because I don't want anything that's censored. I feel like you should grassroot it and start with the student. That's my focus, the student, first and foremost. You made another interesting point with underage drinking. That's why I decided I never, ever focused on anyone under 18. But in the last few years, I decided that 18 was a little old. By 18, they've been drinking, a lot of kids, for a while now. So by the time they get to college and get with others like them, it's regular behavior. It's almost unaddressed that you're underage, that you shouldn't even be doing this, that you shouldn't have access to it. It's unreal and it's illegal for most freshmen and sophomores to be drinking. You're not 21 yet. So it shouldn't even be an option there. But we think it's okay if, I'm a junior, I'm 21, I can buy my freshman friend, a bottle or a drink, and we all have fun at this party together. But you have to be 21 to drink for a reason, so the consequences could be ridiculous. I think it's absurd that so many kids go to college and invest so much in their education and leave with felonies because, you know, of an alcohol related event, or a DUI, which is a felony now. Now you have student loans and you have a ton of other fees related to the DUI. It's just not good, you know, and it's uncalled for. It's something that shouldn't happen as often as it does. It has to be stopped. Right now, like you said, opiates are back. It sickens me to see 18, 19, 20-year-olds using heroin. How did this happen? You know, it's like in the age of information, you know what happened before. You know, everyone's seen the Frank Lucas story and the Nicky Barnes story. We know how they destroy communities with heroin. And now in 2017, it's making a comeback because it's popular? How? I just don't understand it. The dirty Sprite, you know, promethazine and codeine, that's cough syrup. And soda, you know, that's ridiculous what it does to your brain. And you give that to an 18-year-old whose brain is still developing, the long-term effects are catastrophic. You know, he could die, you know. Why would you want to drink something that makes you slow down like that, that delays you like that? It can't feel good. You're doing it because of the culture. And we have to change the culture. We have to make a conscious effort and a commitment to change the culture on these campuses, to change the culture on these universities. And I think that's where we have to start. That's why we have to focus on the quote unquote popular kids or the leaders on the campus, because they have to change the culture and they don't have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah. It's just like you said before, education.
Education.
It all comes down to that.
And education is a privilege. You know, we underestimate the privilege of an education. We have the right, but with it comes a responsibility. You know, you're not just giving it because you want it. You know, you have to earn it. You have to deserve it, and you have to maintain it, or it means nothing.
And let me just address too. A lot of times we don't look at the power of, I guess, mainstream America. Because what they're pushing is capitalism, and a lot of times they're pushing sales. So they
it's
want
an agenda,
right? That's an agenda that we have to be aware of. Is that they want to keep you spending money. They want to keep you in rehab because again that generates money economy. So yeah, they don't care if you drink, smoke, party, had to go to rehab over and over. That generates money because you got to spend.
Now most insurance pay for it.
Right, alcohol sales goes up. So the economy, this is a capitalistic society that feeds on your lack of knowledge, lack of information. Even though the information and stuff is there, but if you're not looking at it, and even with college students, even though they're at an institution of higher learning, they're still young and they play on their innocence of being first time away from home. A lot of those students, and they are in, even though they're young adults, they're in an experimentation stage. They're like lab rats.
They are, and they're very easily influenced.
Exactly.
I think it was amazing how easily these guys are influenced. You know, you've been who you are your whole life, and you come to college and decide to be someone else. I just don't understand that, and I can understand influence. You know, we're all influenced to an extent, but the mumble rap, you know, these guys are mumbling because they can't speak straight. You know, their brain is mush. You know, the Lil Waynes, the Young Thugs, the Futures. I like trap music as much as anyone, but it's just that. It's just music. You know, half of the time it's bad, you know, but they allow that culture to influence them so much that they think that these things are cool. And then they perpetuate that. You know, and then 1 turn to 5, turn to 10, turn to 20, and now you have the gang mentality, you know, influencing the smaller groups. So now it's like, get down or lay down, you know, and being a cool kid means so much to them. They have so much invested in being liked, you know, in the age of multimedia and social networks. It means so much. It's like these people get their self-esteem from an emoji in reality. That's what it is. You know, you give them the thumbs up and they'll put a picture of them naked up there to get that. You know, and that's the culture right now.
Yeah,
and that's where we have to start. That's where we have to change.
Yeah, we have to change that. We have to change that paradigm to. It's all right to be the cool kid, but we have to make the cool kid be something different than
That's right.
than what it is.
That's
we
right.
have to flip that to make it cool.
That's right.
Not to drink, not to smoke, not
That's
to get
right.
high. We got to make that cool.
That's right.
We got to make that sexy. So
That's right.
you know, that's one of the things that that I want to extend to you, as I've extended to some of the counselors on some of the college campuses, is to have a panel meeting in April. So I want you to be a part of the panel also, to where we're
I
gonna
would love to
have
participate. Thank you.
yeah, that we're gonna talk about and discuss the college campus life and things that we can do to change it. So some of the counselors I've talked with on the campus of Shaw, St. Aug, NC State, and Wake Tech. We just trying to get a date that fits everybody. We're gonna have that panel discussion. We're gonna have it also on Facebook Live. So I want to look for that. But
That's
also, I want
excellent.
you to let people know how they can get in touch with you through social media, you know, and such.
All right. You can email me. You can email me directly. You know, I'm open to everyone. I could be reached at lphoenix. That's LPHOENIX at phoenixforcommunities.com. That's PHOENIX communities.com. You know, email me. You can hit me on Facebook, Latiff Phoenix. I don't have a company Facebook. I am who I am. I live it. So, you know, you can hit me directly. You know, Latiff Phoenix at Facebook.com. Email me at lphoenix at phoenixforcommunities.com. And I love to hear your feedback. I love to hear what you think. You know, I'm not trying to make a decision for the people. I just want the people to understand that they have a voice and that they have a seat at the table and that there are resources available to support you at that table now. That's the most important thing. Everyone talks about the lack of resources, but that's not necessarily true. There are resources available, you know, places like RCNC, the Recovery Networks of North Carolina. There's people and funding in place to support you and your ideals and your clean living and your everyday fight and recovery on these campuses. You don't have to go in your pocket to throw a dry party. These people will support you because this is what they want. You know, and I just want the students across the globe to know that, you know, they have a voice, they have opportunity, they have resources, and that you have backing and support.
All right. Latiff, again, I want to just let the audience know that you are here and available, as is myself. And again, we're going to reach out to a lot of the students and the counselors and the leaders that's on the college campuses going forward, and we're going to put some strategies in place, some prevention strategies. What we're looking at now is what the top 50 college universities have in place on their college campuses in terms of prevention strategies for their campus, and we're implementing some of those locally. That's the idea. That's the plan. I want to thank you for coming on today and just letting the people know that you are here. You are attacking the problem, not by yourself, but with other organizations. Like I said, there are resources that we network with that can they can and will help make the changes that we need to see to make the community better, to make the universities better, and overall just make, you know, as they say, make America better. But we want to start. We want to start here.
Here at home, starts in your community.
We want to start here. You and I, Shaw and St. Augustine universities, and the surrounding universities, NC State, Wake Tech, Meredith, and some of the other local colleges. We want to be on those campuses making the changes with
Peace,
those
don't
individuals.
forget peace. You know, we want them
Peace,
all.
we want them all.
And again, you know, my company directly, Phoenix Consultant Services Group LLC, me and my partners, you know, we offer life coaching, peer support services, sober living activities, as well as transportation services, you know, at no cost to anyone. You know, so you can always contact me. You can always come to me as a peer coach, as a life coach. You know, I'm willing to work with you. I'm willing to help you. I'm not just talking it. You know, I sincerely want to live it. I sincerely want to make a change. You know, and it doesn't cost you anything out of your pocket, you know, to have my services or my company's services. So, you know, again, I just urge the people to use the resources available to them.
All right. Well, we're going to close out the show, and I just want to send a shout. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for just joining us as usual. I appreciate the audience, and just want anyone that wants to be on the show. You can reach me at tperry5000@gmail.com. Again, that's tperry5000@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email and let me know what your mission, your purpose, or your cause is, and you know we can go from there. Again, or either you can find me on terrenceperry.com. You can go to my website, terrenceperry.com. Also, my books are also on that website, terrenceperry.com. There are books about reinventing yourself, America's Awakening, and also my message of self-worth. Check those books out. Again, I want to thank you all. We'll be back next Tuesday. You can find me on Thursday nights at Let's Talk Relationships, Thursday night Facebook Live at 7 o'clock. So I appreciate you, and thanks, Latiff, again, I thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
I look forward to working with you going forward. So I want to just say you all have a blessed and interesting weekend. Thanks.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.